If you're not dealing with K, it ain't the truth.
It's the Flame Show. Powered by the Truth Talk Show.
Welcome to the Flame Show, where every topic we touch is straight fire. I am your girl, K, the Truth, and if you're not dealing with K, it's definitely not the truth. In studio today, we have Miss Yolanda Woods, the mother of Alteria Woods, who was shot early this year in March in a Gifford home located in Indian River County, Florida. Miss Yolanda, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We are blessed to have you on the show because I really want to dive in deep into this, because what happens in our communities, we have so many people of color getting shot, and it kind of get brushed under the rug. Okay, so about 7 months ago, she was shot. She was killed by police, but now it's kind of nobody's talking about it. How are you feeling, and what's going on?
As you know, a mother, when you hear that your child, the way that she was killed, it has caused a lot of emotions. Like I said, my community here won't stand with me. And I keep pushing and pushing and pushing for justice.
Why do you think the community will not stand with you? Is it because of the television has told us? As you know, the television lies.
Yes, it does lie, and that's what it has done. They're scared of the retaliation by Indian River County Sheriff's Office. So that's why they won't stand with me or my family.
Which we kind of jumped on into the middle. Now I want to go back to the beginning. So from my understanding, I want you to correct me if I'm wrong, so it occurred like at 5:45 in the morning on a Sunday morning, and the SWAT team was doing a drug raid. But some media outlets have posted or did write-up saying that she was used as a human shield. Is that accurate?
No, ma'am, that's not accurate. It actually was at 5:37 in the morning, and she was actually shot 10 times as she was laying in bed. Yeah, she was laying in bed. So that's hard.
All I can really say, I can't even imagine how you feel, is wow. But how did they get from she was used as a human shield to she was laying in bed? So were the police officers just shooting at the home and didn't care who was in there, if it was anybody? It could have been an infant. It could have been. So how did that actually happen? Or what are your thoughts on it?
As the story is told, more people will start to understand. And due to a lot of litigations, I can't really, say too much on that. My thought, I do know as you keep reading and people keep hearing the story, and to know that the amount of people that wasn't at home. And
let me ask you a different question, kind of ease, because I know this is still fresh. We're talking about March. What are we in?
March 19th, and it's October.
So that's still new. It's not even a year old, right? So let's switch gears and talk about, was it true that she was pregnant at the time of the situation?
No, she wasn't pregnant. She wasn't doing the autopsy. She was shot multiple times, and she was shot 10 times. And viewing that, it shows that she was laying in bed. She was not even a day pregnant.
Now I have to go to Donald Trump. Now I have to go to this, which I don't want to side with Donald Trump ever. But now we're talking about fake news, because they'll just put anything out there, and it's sad. Because when you put stuff out there, and plus the person is deceased, so they can't speak for themselves. So now you just continue to damage somebody's character.
They did a lot of damage to character. They did a lot to questions. Calls. Some people say she deserved to die. If you lay down with dogs, you get fleas. But they didn't know the complete story. They just went by what was told to them, and they just ran with it. They attacked my motherhood. I just raised my daughters and both of my girls to treat everybody the same, to never look down on anyone, because you never know what position you might end up in.
So I'm going to say this, and we can, even though you did raise them a certain way, we can always raise our children a certain way, and they're going to do what they want to do. I just can't wrap my head around the fact that even if I lost my child, that the police or whoever would murder my child, and I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. You were talking about somebody that's 21 years old.
21. She had just turned 21 February the 2nd.
And then you have society telling you that you're a bad mother because somebody killed your child. When you know that you've done all in your power to raise your child or children a certain way, even if they don't go the way you raised them, people still have their own mindset. Ultimately, what would you like to tell those people who say that you're a bad mother and you know that you're not?
All I did, I I taught them to treat everybody the same. I taught them to love people, and that's what she did. She loved. She gave a young man a chance. She changed his life. She gave him a chance when everyone else looked down on him. So she changed him completely. And to see how she affected his life, to want him to be like you said, all he wanted to do was be a hard worker in life. When no one else would give him a chance, she pushed him, she motivated him. So I am proud of my motherhood and proud of my daughter.
Has this situation changed the way you feel about authority, law officials?
Yes, ma'am. I don't go out too much at nighttime, because it's like I have to be able to see them. I don't know if that sounds crazy, but it's like I don't trust. So at night, I can't see them like I could see them coming in the daytime.
No, that makes perfect sense, especially since they know that you upset, and you have every right to be upset about the murder, let's call it, not say death, the murder of your daughter. I'll be looking over my shoulder because they know you're taking some type of action, and you're not one of those just going to let it just go under the rug. So you have to be cautious in situations like this, because even though, you know, your child was taken away, some people may feel that you don't have a right to disagree with us, you know, because she was murdered. So some people may not like that. So I definitely understand completely how you feel.
It has completely changed my life. And it's hard because I have a 17-year-old that likes to do stuff with her friends, and I have to tell her no sometimes. If it's late at night, I have to give her a certain time that I'm able to go out. If her dad is not able to pick her up. So, and it hurts me because I'm kind of holding her back, if that makes sense, from enjoying her life and her friends and things that she wants to do, because I'm fearful. And this is her last year, and so she's graduates 2018. So, and I have to tell her, I can't, if your dad can't do it, you got to be in before it gets dark.
Yeah.
Because I am scared. Some people don't understand that, but I am. Because I already have people in my community saying that, telling people to stay away from me because they could get killed for just being associated with me.
You sound like you are a fighter, so this may be like an automatic no. Have you ever thought about moving from the community and still doing your work to get justice from another location?
It's like now I know I have to. If I leave, it's a sign that they're saying I'm giving up. So I'm going to stay here and I'm going to fight. I'm not going to be intimidated. Even when I'm down, I have to pick myself back up because I know what I have to do. And I'm not going to be intimidated.
Right. So we talk about you wanting justice. So ultimately, what is your justice? What does it look like for you?
I keep saying, and I keep my faith. I keep my faith in God, and I keep saying, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but justice is on its way. The deputies that murdered her in the Inner River County Sheriff's Office will one day be held accountable for her murder. So I'm going to hold on to my faith and knowing justice is on its way.
First of all, are they still a part of the Indian River County Sheriff's Department? That's number one.
Yes, ma'am. They went back 11 days. I didn't know that. They went back to work 11 days after her murder.
Wow. So my questions would be, did they have any psychological evaluation?
That I can't tell you. I'm not aware. I just know they're back on active duty.
Which we know that your daughter was shot 10 times. Do we know how many bullets actually hit the home?
I'm not for sure, but I know it's more than 10. I do know it's more than 10. What
exactly is excessive force in the sheriff's county's eyes? Because that was excessive shooting. I don't know. And if it was, I'm not sure if there was other people that were shot inside the home.
No, ma'am.
But
she was the only one.
In my opinion, which this is not you, because I don't want people to say you said, but in my opinion, they were just shooting. You don't know who you shooting at, and you just shooting, which goes back to they need some type of training. And who's watching the watchers? Because the police officers are supposed to be watching us, but nobody's watching them.
Exactly. And we've also been pushing for body cameras. Our sheriff will not okay body cameras, which I feel body cameras are needed in River County because of all the injustice that's been going on here. We need it because that way we know what happened when it comes to incidents like myself or my daughter being murdered. I seek justice. I was seeking for months and months. Nobody getting no answers from no one, and I had to put together bits and pieces with the help of Michael C. Marsh helping me. Like I said, once again, the people in my community wouldn't even stand with me. They would just look at me or tell other people not to be around me. I had some that would come up and say, I'm praying for you, or can I hug you? But the majority of them, they didn't want to have any contact with me.
When I did my research, and it said the 2 officers was on paid administrative leave pending the outcome of the investigation. So what have they said is the outcome?
I'm not for sure. They went back, like I said, they went back to work 11 days after they murdered her. And I just found out in the paper, was it the other day, that investigation actually ended with the sheriff department on August 18th. I was not aware of it.
And they still haven't updated you. That's definitely not good. When you talk about the crime in Indian River County, how many other shootings have there been that were police related? Do you know?
There was another case a couple months ago where about Susan Till, another woman that was shot and killed.
Wow.
So it's been incidents that's been going on in Indian River County. It's a lot to take in. And I try to take it day by day. Day by day.
How are you sleeping?
I don't. It's hard. Some nights I don't get that much. I might get 4 or 5 hours sleep. That's including the daytime. You know, I don't sleep. I try to take naps, but I don't. It doesn't work out all the time. So I'm not really sleeping at all because my mind is up, and sometimes I'm wondering and thinking about my daughter and thinking about what I have to do as I go through this process of what am I going to do next. So when I get up and go to work in the morning, I get up early in the morning to go to work. So if you could imagine me, if I would lay down and take a nap, I fall asleep this evening, and I might wake up 3 hours later, and I'm up. I'm up from when I go to work until I get home, until later on again that evening if I sleep.
So out of everything that has happened, what has been the most upsetting to you?
The way that, for me, it's the people in my community not taking a stand, not standing up for what's right, and not seeing it's just not, I keep saying through my daughter's murder and my voice, a change is coming to the Gifford community. And it saddens me that not even the leaders in this community will stand with them. Mm-mm. We have 5 different organizations in this community, and none of them will stand. That's the saddest part to me.
Have you asked them why?
A lot of them, and I say it's a couple of them that I say paid and bought. Paid and bought. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but it is the way I see it. And some of them are just scared of the retaliation. They're scared to speak out.
So I'm assuming that you lost, when you say the community, so I'm assuming you lost a lot of good friends.
Yeah. Yeah, they view things differently. My thing, I say, what if it was your child or your grandchild or one of your family members? It could have been anybody's child, but that day it happened to be my child.
What do you want people to know about your beautiful daughter, Alteria Woods? What do you want them to know about her?
She has affected so many people's lives, and they know her personality, her eagerness, her love for people. And I always say, if you knew her, you would have to have loved her. That's how she was. I raised them. She's 21, and she still says, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. So she was just beautiful inside and out. And it's, her personality spoke for herself. Her smile. She had a smile that would just brighten up a room.
So lucky for you, well, not lucky for you, but, well, I guess it is luck that your activist person, Michael, has came into in your life to help you deal with this. What type of help has he offered to you, and what would you like to say to him for coming in and trying to help?
We did, when I called him from day one, he's been there with me. We did rallies. We did press conferences. He works behind the scenes. He does things that people are not even aware that he does. And I always tell Mike, he's a man with a great big heart, full of courage, and I appreciate everything that he has done for me and my family. And I will stand with Michael until the end.
The Flame Show, where every topic we touch is hot.
Well, welcome to the show, Michael.
Well, thank you very much, and I appreciate you having me, and those words mean a lot to me. And without jumping in, I'll just real briefly kind of explain how I kind of got involved, if that's all right.
Yes, and I want you to give us your overall opinion. Just give us your take on everything.
Well, I got into this. I had a good childhood friend named Corey Jones, who was also shot and killed by a police officer down in Palm Beach County, which is about an hour south of us. And this happened in October of 2015. And after that, I became a strong proponent on body cameras. I felt that if we allow law enforcement to play judge, jury, and executioner, we need to see what exactly is taking place. We have to have this transparency. When this took place with Alteria, once again we had another sheriff's department that was already in the middle of numerous lawsuits for excessive force, an agency that lacked transparency, was no accountability, and definitely no accessibility. And, I immediately heard what took place, seeing it. I'm actually the one that wound up releasing a lot of different things to the media. And the saddest thing, from day one, when I watched, the way I referred to him is not my sheriff, because he's not my sheriff, but I watched him make Alteria a victim all over again. And the reason why I say this is because as everything's unfolding, I'm listening and I'm watching a juvenile mugshot being displayed as her last image, the image that we, the public, as well as the family, had to see as the last image. And, I mean, this is something we always see, unfortunately, when it's a young black man, male or female. Unfortunately, this is kind of what the media likes to hype up. But to see a sheriff who did not know who Alteria Woods was, had no idea of the family, but to use that when this was not something that took place a year before, 5 years before. This is when this young lady, young girl, was a kid. And we all make mistakes as kids, and no one even knew the backstory of what really took place. So that was the first thing that we saw, and that infuriated me. And I was very fortunate enough to make contact with Miss Woods, and from day one, I said, you know what, we got to get this in front of the cameras, because when you don't have a media presence against a sheriff's department that is very mighty, but fortunately for us, we have someone on our side that's a little bit mightier. And we started holding these rallies. The community support was great. It would have been nicer if we would have had a couple other community leaders stand behind us, but unfortunately, some things haven't changed. In our county, it's a good old boy. It's yes, sir, master. And unfortunately, that's something that I, along with others, are looking to break. But my personal feelings from day one, we victimized the victim. And not just that, we were given the wrong set of facts. This human body shield that the sheriff ran to 1, 2, 3 villainize this young man. And once I got the discovery and I released it to the media, everything was a lie, not just a small exaggeration. Alteria wasn't shot once, twice. So it's 10 times that she was shot And literally, we were told a single shot killed her. But that was a lie. So if that's a lie, what else is a lie? Everything thus far. And for no one to reach out to his family, in my words, has been a travesty of justice. And when we have chanted in the past, there's no justice, no peace, that's exactly what it's going to be. We've been to county commissioner meetings demanding body cameras, demanding these deputies an outside investigation. There's no reason why this agency, their protocol shouldn't be police-involved shooting. You cannot let the police themselves. And that's what has taken place here. There's been no independent investigation. It's been, hey, we investigated ourselves and we found nothing. And this is where we're at. And this is the sad thing. And they wanted to stay contained in this little small area of Indian River County called Gifford. And what we've been working on is to get it outside of Gifford, get it outside Indian River County, and now get it outside the state of Florida. Because in order for this to be investigated thoroughly, an independent investigation is what we're calling on. Now the family has an attorney, and now the ball is rolling. But everyone went back to work, business as usual, after a week. And this is not a slap in the face, not just to the family, but to the community to say, yeah, everyone go back to work. We have killers amongst us. Call it what it is. You know, and it just isn't right. And I don't understand why more so-called community leaders aren't standing behind this family, because out of fear, and we've already exposed all these inconsistencies, all these, no other way you can put it, these lies and injustices from the beginning of this, from the first day, and not once has the sheriff retracted his version, his so-called human shield that has been totally destroyed, and their whole case is crumbling. They used a young man who, unfortunately, yes, his family is well known, and you know, the youngest one was not in as much trouble as some of the family members, but he's basically the scapegoat for the true murderers, for the real ones who are still so-called protecting and serving our community. And when does it end? You know, an internal affairs investigation wasn't even concluded, but the grand jury came back with its findings. No indictment against these cops. And how can you have that? How can you have had not all the evidence looked at, examined, and you already cleared? You already said from hours after she was murdered that these deputies did no wrong. They were shot at, and they were already cleared. And this is the story. This is the false narrative that we've been working on for now going well over 6 months continuous, of showing it's a lie. She was not pregnant. She was not used as a shield. She was not shot once. So it makes you say to yourself, if this sheriff and this sheriff's department can lie about these 3 key factors, we're supposed to believe that these deputies acted in self-defense. We're going to take their word for it, but we're already being lied to by the ones on top. So if nothing else, at least to have true transparency, where is Florida Department of Law Enforcement? Our goal now, we're done waiting for Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Now we want Department of Justice to come in and do what they need to do, and that is to take a second look at a case that was never even given a thorough investigation in the first place. And I mean, and that's my opinion, not because, you know, I'm a local activist and you know, when it comes to a sheriff, he's not exactly a fan favorite of mine. This is just wrong by so many accounts. If nothing else, what would it have been for this sheriff to come out? He's a father. He's a father just like Miss Yolanda, to say, you know something, that mugshot photo shouldn't have been the way that I should have said, because by all accounts, Alteria was a victim. And now, you know, when we try to do things in the community, where are the so-called community leaders? We wanted to see a street changed. And right now we're getting ready to go in front of these county commissioners, and we're being told, because Alteria basically didn't do nothing that special in life, we really can't change the street name. It wasn't like she was a cop or she was a public safety. Well, guess what? If they didn't murder her, what would have Alteria turned in? Maybe next doctor, next lawyer, who knows? But this is the type of community, and this is the type of ignorance that plagues this community. And unfortunately, it's going to take many more lawsuits to start changing things. But it's not just about lawsuits. Handcuffs need to go on. These so-called individuals that we entrusted to protect and serve us, because they just don't care. And the only way they will is when there's repercussions and consequences. And that's what's being worked on behind the scenes. And fortunate enough, a lot of us have kind of joined forces, new friendships, and we all maybe do things a little differently, but we all got the same common goal. You know, this young lady was looked up. Her personal information was looked up days before this murder. For what reason? See, I have access to do these different types of requests, and I know, and now we all know, that they knew Alteria was in that house. An innocent victim. Why did you conduct this raid? Why was it so pivotal that particular morning, when you could have got the one person that you were looking for, not even Alteria's boyfriend, but the father? Why conduct this raid when you knew, not only because you looked her up and you knew who Alteria Woods was, you knew the car that she had, you knew exactly the house she was going to be at that particular morning. Why do this in such a dangerous early morning, and when you knew that there was innocent victims? You could have got this young man, you could have got the father, any other time. Why get him like this? Because they didn't care. It was a reckless, wanted disregard of human life, and they need to pay. And the civil courts, they will pay. But it needs to be more than that. It needs to be more. Where is the criminal consequences? And that's the problem. And fortunately, it takes things like this, getting the story out there. Because when people hear, well, hold on here, Alteria must have been doing something wrong. She was doing absolutely nothing wrong, other than laying in the bed. I mean, can you only imagine that? You're in the bed, and the next thing, all you hear is bullets being riddled. And even if we want to use the same theory that she was used as a shield, are you going to tell me this young man was like Spider-Man, and he was able to duck and dodge? Or the 10 shots that I referred to, it wasn't 10 attempted shots at Alteria. That's what physically hit her. So how many actual shots? 35, 40? So you got to tell me this young man was holding her this whole time and not even to be grazed by a bullet? And then
so is it safe to say that authorities were shooting at the home blindly?
Yes. It from all accounts, from the pictures, from forensics, I have the entire discovery. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds of documents. Just from a lay person who has no idea, that's exactly what was taking place.
How many bullets do you think was actually shot at the home?
From speaking to a couple experts that's very close to the case, and from the pictures that I've seen, it would have had to been in the ballpark about 30-something.
Wow. So when they look up her information, you said they looked up her information, so they already knew who she was, and they knew that she was there because her car was there. So yes. Basically, they did not care. So anybody in the home can get it.
There's a system called David, in which I'm involved in a lawsuit against them right now. For basically, if I'm a cop, any law enforcement officer, and I want to know who you are. Now, if I pull you over, I have every right to go through this David system. It's the Driver and Vehicle Identification Database is what that acronym stands for. Alteria was never involved in a traffic stop on this day. She was never arrested. So what other reason unless she was missing, would they have pulled her information? I asked that. I put a request in. Did Alteria get pulled over? No. So why was her information? Oh, we don't know. See, what happened was this particular deputy, who later on killed someone just months after that, this same problematic deputy, who actually right now as we speak is going through the grand jury process to see if he's going to be charged with murder. So you can't make this stuff up. This is the same deputy who looked up Alteria, who's involved now with this murder. He looked her up, and there's no reasoning behind it. None whatsoever, which leads me to believe that they wanted to know what vehicle Alteria would be driving, who she was, a picture of her, because all this information, once they put it in, now I have an image. I know who Alteria is. I know everything about her. I know her next of kin. I know who her family is, based on that type of search. So and the car was there.
So since the investigation, I guess from my research, has shown that they completed it, so are they even classifying this as a murder, or what are they saying happened?
No, it's justified. It's these particular deputies, I mean, the boyfriend was charged with it, but the coroner has ruled it to be a murder. But as far as the Indian River County Sheriff's Department, there was no policy violation at all, period. So they wouldn't even call it a murder, as far as other than of the hands of the youngest coffee, AJ, which is the attorney's office.
They killed her, but he's going to get the charge for it.
Exactly. There's a law in Florida that basically, to give you the simplest way of understanding, if you go in and say you rob a bank, and during this time the robber's getting shot at, and all of a sudden an innocent bystander gets shot, now you being a robber, you would be held liable because in that commission of a felony, that person died because of you. That's the theory that they want to use, that because Andrew Coffey shot at them first, and she was the one killed, that it was his felonious act, shooting at the cops, that caused her death. But here's the problem with that. You would have to say, and knowingly, that he knew that those were law enforcement officers busting out the window, shooting into him. How can you know what someone else is hearing from the other side of a house? If you just hear a window breaking, and in the state of Florida, you have the right to defend yourself whether you're a convicted felon or not. This is the biggest problem that is not being looked at. I don't care because his driving while license suspended and turned him into a convicted felon. You have the right to protect yourself in your home. Now, later on down the line, why you have a firearm could be challenged, but he had every right to protect him and Alteria when that window busted out, period. And why break out that window? You had undercover informants tell you who was in that room, so why would that window need to be broken out? There's so many policy and procedural problems on that morning that has never been addressed at all. But now,
I'm going to say this. If somebody's breaking out my window, I'm not going to think anything. I'm going to stop it because I'm going to be defending myself because I think you're going to harm me. So he should have been shooting back. In my eyes, that's something I would have done. Anybody that hears a window break in their home, they're going to take action to diffuse the situation. So.
And not just that. Here's the one question that cannot be answered by law enforcement, and I can't wait to hear it at trial. If AJ was shooting at law enforcement, why did he stop shooting? The answer to that is, once he knew it was Indian River County Sheriff's Department, he ceased. He didn't run out of bullets. He wasn't shot. He wasn't taken into custody. He stopped shooting once he realized, okay, now they've identified themselves because they were already inside the home. So that right there puts that whole theory out. Why would he stop shooting? He could have turned around, shot them as they're coming after him. Why would you stop shooting? So from even if you had no understanding of any forensics or anything else, just common sense, how in the world was she used as a shield? It's not logical. It did not take place. And how could a sheriff know within hours of exactly this is how it took place. They weren't even questioned yet. So how can he know all the set of facts when the sheriff doesn't even visit the city of Gifford other than for these community meetings that he comes there and it's a waste of everyone's time? He cleared his deputies before we even knew the true set of facts. And to say she was pregnant based on what? It was to show, look at this bad person, Andrew Coffey. Not only did he use her as a shield, but a pregnant woman as a shield. Think about that narrative. People hate Andrew Coffey now because they look what he did. But the story has changed. Well, she wasn't pregnant. She wasn't used as a shield.
The story changed, but the damage is still there.
Exactly.
Everybody still have in their mind the original story, which was
exactly
her as a shield, and she was pregnant. And then to top it all off, and then you put in the mugshot, which is not very flattering to her. So it looks like it's just a big mess. Like I always call it, instead of television, it's tell-a-vision. Because they tell a bunch of lies, and they try to mess with the mind. So the whole case is a mess. If they don't watch the news frequently, they're still stuck with the first story.
Exactly. And that's the ignorance. I mean, trust me, every time we do a rally, every time the news interviews one of us, you know, we read the negative comments. And like I've told Miss Yolanda, all you could do is laugh at it because these people have no idea. Even when they're shown, look, she was used as a shield, but look at this. I mean, I've combed through almost everything, every picture, every single thing. And just of the number of shots alone, a person should see that and say, you know, it wasn't where he was off by 1 or 2. She was shot once. Oh, it was really 3 times. We're talking 10 times. From almost every organ in her body was shot at. How do you make that type of mistake? Or if you don't know, why would you even say, well, she was... Think about it. That sounds not that bad. Well, the deputies mistakenly shot her once. See, that's something that maybe you could swallow. But if you come out and say, yeah, we accidentally shot her 10 times, how do you shoot someone accidentally 10 times?
And that's
how many times did you shoot at her? You know, that's a different story. And that's the saddest part. At the end of the day, even if part of it was true, which it's not, and the forensics will show it, but these are lies. And this is a mother that never got an apology. You don't have to talk about the case. But, Sheriff, from one parent to the next, you know what? I made a boo-boo. That mugshot, I could have found any other picture of Alteria Woods. But I found this one because you know what it does? It shows they're all criminals. And now, is it really that bad that we shot her? I mean, sad to say, but let's call it what it is. And that's why he did it. And if that's not why he did it.
In the county, how many shootings have you seen with people of color by the police department? Or what are your overall thoughts of the Indian County Sheriff Department?
Well, right now as we speak, we're going on lawsuit number 20. And this is something that myself and others have been putting together now for probably every bit of 5 years. And it's a pattern. It's where in the black community there is no voice because the so-called leaders, and I'll throw it out there, you know, NAACP was not put in place to give award ceremonies to the Indian River County Sheriff's Department. It's fine to work hand in hand, but every shooting like this, that there's a problem with transparency, I would expect that my voice is not the leading voice, that the people of this same community would stand up and say, you know what, something doesn't sound right here, and we want this to be looked into. But this is a pattern. This is this particular community, Gifford, blacks being assaulted, beaten, videos, and they're allowed to resign. This is the same story where they use force. I find out, or one of us finds out, we bring it to the media. This is the only reason that things have changed, because I've gotten to a point now where I have these contacts and I can get them to come out. And we're not talking about the small news. When the big boys come, they have to answer questions. And that's what it takes. And it's a consistent thing. So now it's taken lawsuits. $1.4 million has been paid out. And this is predominantly from, just to give a roundabout, 85% is being paid out to blacks. So, I mean, if that right there doesn't scream something about the Indian River County Sheriff's Department, not to mention the percent of blacks that work the streets is about 5%. I'm not saying only blacks can police the black community, but if that community doesn't look a little bit like the deputies that are supposed to be protecting it, we have a problem, because these deputies are afraid. They're automatically afraid to interact with blacks. That's a problem, because time after time, they're using more force than what they would to the white counterparts. They're assaulting because they feel these are the voiceless. What are they going to do? And that's what has been taking place in this little small community, time after time. Now, a group of us has gathered, and that's ending, because now we're pulling dash cam footage. Now we have policies that, hey, this is not being adhered to. Now we got the media asking questions. Why is this happening? Why did so-and-so get beat, but you let that cop resign? We don't want resignations. We want the same thing that would take place to one of us, and that is handcuffs. There's no reason why these cops are, because of their badge, they're being granted extra rights.
Well, I have to interject. You made a comment. You said they are afraid, I guess kind of afraid to interact with the black. I'm just going to put it out there that most of the cops, in my opinion, who have badges are Ku Klux Klan, racist, or whatever. So I don't think that they're afraid. I think some of them already have it in their minds, and I call it population control. So I don't know, and this is me and my conspiracy theory. They knew Alteria was in there. She's just another black person getting killed. So
no, yeah. I could agree with that. I mean, I could definitely agree with that. I mean, it's sad, but the people who have commented, who have basically said in so many words, when you lay with fleas, you get bit, however it was put, shows the ignorance of, listen, it doesn't matter who Alteria's boyfriend would have been. Just so happens this young man was changing his life. But she did not deserve to be killed. But this is the mentality of some of them. And then the few blacks in power, it's a really sad thing that they cannot do anything for this community whatsoever, that they're completely silenced, but they're thrown out there like they're doing something when they're not. Not one of them tried at all to reach out to this mother. And for what reason? Because they knew they would have a problem. So, yeah, I don't believe it's just being afraid. I believe that some of them, they get into these professions because they know that they can be a big bully. And unfortunately, it leads to them murdering someone. I mean, my buddy that was killed literally broke down the side of the road. And instead of a cop helping him, cop killed him. And fortunately enough, there was a recording that caught it. And now he's facing murder charges. But why not the same thing for Alteria? Because they were able to cover it up. No body cameras, no dash cameras. But their own deputies who were involved, they weren't lawyers. They wouldn't speak to their own investigators. What does that tell you? That tells you that the few of them who are good cops, they're like, you know what? We don't want to be involved in this one. But to me, silence is violence. And these good cops who probably are good cops that sit back and allow this to take place, they're just as guilty, unfortunately. And I don't know. How do you stop it?
Why do you think some of the organizations who are supposed to be able to help, such as the NAACP or whatever organization you have in your community, walk away?
The biggest, it goes back to the biggest root of all evil, is money. Some of these local so-called leaders of this organization, this chapter, have these nice county jobs. They got these jobs because good old master helped them get them. So they can't go against him, because if they do, they're going to be out of a job. And the saddest thing is, not once did this so-called president, until I approached him and the video went viral, and I said to him, did you reach out to Ms. Woods? And he couldn't respond to me. That is not what the NAACP was put in place for. It was not to, yes, sir, master. That's the mentality. And I believe that they can't get involved because they're not going to cross that line. And they're being, keep the lid contained in Gifford. And that's what's sad. That's why myself, I've joined, and I'm running for president, because it's fine to have a partnership with law enforcement. But you know what? You have these other chapters around the state that when something not as severe as this takes place, they're demanding the removal of a sheriff. Why is it no one's screaming from the NAACP, can we get an independent investigation? We're not saying you're wrong, but can we at least, for the family's sake, why is that not taking place? And in my opinion, it's because some of them don't want to lose their comfy little jobs, and they want to keep their little positions, but they're not going to go against the good old boy network. And that's really disgusting. It really, truly is. So we have no organizations that will do anything. It's not about, here's a book bag back to school, here's a bicycle, it's Christmas time. That's not enough for the black community. The NAACP needs to be at the forefront when travesties of justice like this take place, to at least say, Ms. Yolanda, what can we do for you? Because that's what we're here for. Even if she didn't reach out to them, as a human being, reach out and say, what can we do for you? That didn't take place. And we're getting ready to write a letter to ask them to help. Just to see what will they do. Just to show that we're trying. And this whole time I commend and I applaud Ms. Yolanda, because I do things a little differently. You know, but this whole time she sat back. She's never said one word, negative. All she wanted was answers. When does she get the answers? As we approach the 1-year anniversary, when does answers? When the lawsuit commences? This is a problem with the so-called leadership. And in my opinion, NAACP was not built or founded on these false principles that they're practicing.
And I was kind of offended when she said that, the police officers, I call it paid vacation.
That's
paid
exactly what it is.
Leave, because that's all it was a vacation. Let's be clear.
That's
they
it.
got paid for it. And in 11 days, they were back to work, and it's pretty much closed, but she had to find out some information in the newspapers. That's kind
literally
of like a slap in his face.
I got a phone call from a friend that's a news reporter, and she said to me, Mike, you won't believe it. The investigation's over. They're back working. And I said, get out of here. No one, not the so-called victim's advocate, no one even bothered to say, hey, Miss Woods. Now, she didn't even have an attorney at the beginning of this. So, and then even when she did have an attorney, someone could have reached out to the attorney. But the sheriff's department swept this under the rug until I came up and we brought the news, and they said, are you sure? And I had every outlet out there. 11 days. The investigation through Internal Affairs wasn't even concluded. The grand jury didn't even convene. So think about the message that was sent right now into the public's eye. Well, of course they're not guilty. The sheriff let them go back to work. They wouldn't be going back to work if they're committing violations. I mean, there's people who have just looked up something in a database and have been fired. I had a friend that happened to. But these ones, it was murder. And they were back to work not even 2 weeks later. And no one even bats an eye or even says, there's nothing wrong with that. That should have been the beginning of the NAACP to say, whoa, wait a second here. Why are these guys back in our community? How do we know that they didn't kill her? But no one did anything. That's the saddest part of this, is that she's gotten no help from the so-called organizations and leaders who are put in place for times like this for civil injustices. They're nowhere. They're absolutely silent. We've been having to figure out how we can make the noise. And that's what's being worked on now, between still working on changing the street name, getting a memorial bench, putting a tree up in her name, all these different things that we constantly try to keep her name out there. A foundation to be created, scholarships in her name, because this is not what the so-called leaders want. They want to forget Alteria Woods. but we're going to force them to remember this name and hopefully end their careers at the same time.
So what is next for you and Miss Yolanda, Mike?
Well, the next stage is the lawsuit will commence. The official announcing of papers in federal court will come that Alteria's civil rights was violated. That will be the first step. The foundation is being created. The biggest thing is Miss Yolanda wants to give back in her daughter's name, and that's the biggest thing we're focused on. We're not going to focus on what they're telling us we can't do. We're going to do what we can do. We're going to get the memorial bench put in the local county park. We're going to get a tree put up. Once the foundation's put in place, there will be scholarships in her name. Actually, on the 21st, my buddy's family, the one who was killed down in Palm Beach, has invited Miss Woods to speak about her daughter's case, to continually get this out there. And you know what? It's not just about getting body cameras, but that's one of the biggest things that I've been a proponent for. We want body cameras on all law enforcement to be mandated in the state of Florida. And we have to look at what policies we're not adhered to. So the next step is, if FDLE, Florida Department of Law Enforcement, can't give us this investigation, we're going to go to Department of Justice, we're going to go to the FBI, we're going to go to all these different entities until someone says, you know what, she was murdered, and we're going to look into this. And this is what we do every single day, trying to figure out what's the next thing we can do to keep her name out there, to have it back on the news so people don't forget. Because at the end of the day, by all accounts, by even the ones who are enemies, Alteria Woods was a victim. She will always be a victim, and we will not let this victim's memory ever fade.
That was great information on the way you put it, the detail into the case, the insight. So I think all of our listeners will have a better understanding, because when you came in, you gave the facts, and we understood it. We are understanding that, hey, this fight is going to continue, and that you're not going to brush it under the rug. You're going to keep going.
This is a marathon. You know, I was one of the first things I told Miss Yolanda, because, you know, I sat back for a couple years when this happened to my friend. I said, listen, this is going to be years. But you know what? As long as you have that determination that we got to push. And one of the main things that will always echo in my mind is when Miss Yolanda said, Alteria's voice will now be my voice. And that's one of the biggest things that we push out there whenever we do something, that Alteria's voice is only getting to be louder. And that's what it's truly, truly about, because we have to be the voice for the voiceless. And you know what? I believe that some great things have already been accomplished in the short period of time. I mean, this is literally, we're going on month number 7, and there's going to be even greater things for months 8, 9, 10, so on and so forth. So I really appreciate that, and I always appreciate the fact that Ms. Yolanda allows me to talk about some of the things that we have gotten taken care of so far.
And Mike, I want you to shout out your social media and tell people where they can find you. And I don't know if there's a voting process for the NAACP in your area, but shout all that information out.
I appreciate that. So I am Michael C. Marsh. I love putting that little C. I'm proud of the C on my name. And I've also created, along with Ms. Yolanda, the Justice for Alteria Woods. So that's the Justice and the number 4, Alteria, Alteria Woods. Also, yes, there is a voting process. This will be probably taking place next year, but just a local NAACP in Indian River County. I will be running for the NAACP president. I sit on the county PTA board. And besides that, be on the lookout. We will have the Alteria Woods Foundation very soon. And as all my other friends always hear me say, and I'll conclude it here, it's I am, you are, we are, team success.
And we also have the www.change.org website to go on to sign a petition so that we can get an outside investigation done.
Yes, that's what for Florida Department of Law Enforcement. We've had paper signature as well as electronically. and that is and we also turn in hundreds of signatures to our local county commissioners. And if they go on change.org and search for Alteria Woods, and that link will also be on the Justice for Alteria Woods page, it's as simple as going on there, signing their name that they agree that they want to see this take place, and all we're asking for is transparency. So literally everything will be linked to Justice for Alteria Woods, and the next thing is to go in front of county commissioners and to tell them, shame on you, that we cannot have this street name changed. So in the meanwhile, we're working on getting donations for the memorial bench and the tree. And then after that, once the foundation's put in place, working on the scholarships. But yes, change.org, we also got that petition out there as well.
Okay. Well, I thank you guys for stopping by the Flame Show, where every topic we touch is straight fire. I'm your girl, K the Truth. If you're not dealing with K, it's definitely not the truth. Google me at www.kthetruth.com or all social media at K the Truth.
If you're not dealing with K, it ain't the truth.
Need a car? Don't forget to stop by carmarshal.com, where you can scout through over 100,000 new and used car vehicles. Take a look around. Get you a new affordable car. carmarshal.com.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I found that I had to make a change this ending on my videos, letting you know about the channel and fair use laws, you know, how we can report on other people's reporting and how it's good, how it's bad, etc. But you guys can look it up yourself. It is legal. It's in there. But like I've told you before, that I've been cut off from making money on YouTube for 4 years. It's really weird, bizarre, but they cut the money off, but they said you can keep the channel, and now YouTube makes all the money. And if you get bored, plug it into Social Blade website, and you'll see that they are making a huge amount off the site. Right now it's at 63 million views, 53,000 subscribers, almost 3 million views a month. You know, trying to wake people up, and I make nothing. In fact, I got a customer that's ex-congressman. He said if I could ever find a lawyer, sue YouTube on it. But because this is nuts, 4 hours a day, and to save America. You know, but at the same time, it's worth it. Look at what our founding fathers did. They died for this country. So, but getting back to the money part, this is why I'm redoing the video. Is my dream of everyone giving $1, and it's going to be $53,000 a year, or if they did Patreon, which you know, can be monthly. That is not working. That'd be great if it did. Nothing is perfect. And I appreciate the people that do donate, you know, what they can on PayPal. And there again, I'm letting you guys know that is not much. Is, you know, monthly is, oh my god. So anyways, yes, you cannot live on it. It's very, very, very low amount. But the dollar things, I do appreciate that. But when I first said everybody give $1, that's not working. I'm just letting you guys know it's, yeah, that dream. Everybody gives $1. 53,000 subscribers, it's not working. So, yes, if you can give more than that, you know, I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I'm in a unique situation where, you know, we're already debt free, and I'm not rich, but with the little business that we have, I am able to do what I am able to do 45 hours a day, you know, letting you guys know what's going on. In 4 years, I've did the whole thing myself, 12,000 videos on there. I literally get emails where people are like, holy crap, I never knew it was this bad. And it is this bad, and it's getting worse every day because we have the internet, we have cell phones, we have cameras everywhere now, and it's just disgusting what's going on. And then, as you guys know too, now we got Trump, we got Jeff Sessions doing a war on drugs, and now he wants to go after the forfeiture laws again. It's just unfreaking real. So if you can give more than that dream of everybody giving $1, yeah, that old video, that's not working. They're not. They're just not. So anyways, if you can give more than that dream is not working. Hardly anybody is giving. There you go. So that's why I'm remaking the video. If you can give more than that, that would be great. And there again, like I said, the Patreon's there. There is some people on there that are starting to give, but there again, it's very, very low. And like I said, I don't want to get rich off of that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, you know, it's still so stinking corrupt. It's not even funny. My court case that I'm going to be paying out of my pocket myself with Charlotte County's coming up. They illegally looked me up and then posted all my information on LEOAFFAIRS website. They basically doxed me, however you want to say that. I forget what the word is, and they outed me, man. And that information on that site went out to 500 sheriffs, deputies, people that work at the jail, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, it is very, very scary, but we're going to do a federal case, 1983 case, violating freedom of speech. We have 17 cameras in the house now. We got 2 cameras in the car. I always carry a camera plus a cell phone. A lot of people are highly recommending I get a vest now. If I could, if the wife would let me, I would run for sheriff. We are trying to push the thing nationwide right now, where just to mix it up and to get the topics out there is register to run for sheriff, NPA, no party affiliation, as a write-in, and that is completely free, and you can participate in the elections. And there's a lot of stuff. We got a guy, James McLinnis in Pinellas County, Tampa, who almost won. He experienced the corruption himself. The story is unbelievable. Look him up. It's mind-blowing what they did. It pissed him off. He is very, very smart. He has way more money than I did. He ran for sheriff at the last 3 months last year in 2016 and almost won. He got all of the black vote. And the reason why he did that is because he ran on, I will not bust, we're in Florida, I will not bust anybody for weed anymore unless it's an ungodly huge amount, like pounds. And then he also ran on no more victimless crimes, no more of this freaking road pirate bull crap. And then he was going to cut the budget by 30%. And when you think about that, you can. If you stop the road pirates, you can get rid of a bunch of people. Gone. So, the wife has been saying, yes, I can, yes, I can't. So I don't know. We're trying to find somebody that can do it because I am busy doing this anyways. But, so I'm making a video, like I said, that $1 a month from everybody, you know, for 53,000 subscribers, that is not working. I'm just letting you guys know. Absolutely give way more than $1 a month. If you can, I appreciate anything. By the way, remember too, when you give that, PayPal takes like freaking 15 to 20%, so it's even worse than that. But, and there again, like I'm letting you guys know, it's way, what I get is very, very low. Appreciate it, but it is very, very low. Can't live on it. I'm just, you know, I'm working, and that's what I'm working on. And that court case is going to cost a buttload of money. That's federal court. Just the filing fees and the depositions that we're going to be doing with this corrupt cop. So there's another reason to give. We are going to be doing a deposition with this very corrupt. He was in a drug squad. He is a bad guy. He's on steroids. We heard steroids are rampant here. That's why their attitude is so bad. And we are going to get him on video, and it will be on YouTube. So that case alone is $5,000 just to bring it to court, and that's my money out of my pocket. So there's another reason to give, and give way more than $1 if you can. So keep that in mind. This is the new video, and I see, God, I talk a lot. It's already 7 minutes, but had to make it just to let you know that $1 a month from everybody is not working. They're not doing it. So if you can give more than that, please. So thanks. Keep it up. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me your videos on corruption, and I'll post it.